Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly. And I guess what's the main thing going on right now is probably the like it's kind of not normal for the House results not to be decided 6 days after the election. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of basically arrangements to be made.
Yeah, they have to find enough ballots.
No, there are discussions going on. Hey, we're gonna give you this. What are you gonna give us for this seat? Because we had just found 10,000 ballots that could go in.
So, what kind of people do you think are these kingmakers with the ballots? Then, who would be making these kinds of deals?
No Democrats. Look, I just had this idea,
Hmm.
basically, that the only thing standing in the way of America becoming a totalitarian hellhole is the Republican Party, and not the Republican Party, the structure of the Republican Party.
Okay.
Democrats have their structure pat down. Okay. You have super delegates. Basically, Democrats are an oligarchy.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody outside the system can get in to begin with.
Yeah.
That's why all the changes happen in the Republican Party. Now, right now, the Republicans are as corrupt and as one party as the Democrats. But because of the system, there are pesky ones that get in. Like
Yeah. Like Trump.
about Ukraine, there are like 50 of them didn't vote with the rest.
Hmm.
So a fifth of the Republican Party still can get in and be actual representatives of
Yeah.
people. So right now, if you see those a couple of dozen Freedom Caucus
Hmm.
are holding up the speaker election in the House.
Hmm.
Okay, they're saying, hey, these are our demands. If you don't pass them, we're not going to vote for McCarthy to become the speaker.
Yeah.
They've already said that. The thing that the squad wouldn't dare to do
Yeah.
in Democrats.
Yeah.
And they're basically saying campaign finance laws and basically the all the money in politics stuff, a lot of it.
Hmm.
Congressional earmarks, also basically the funds that they just give to representatives to do whatever they want with them,
Hmm.
as like projects that they want to fund, that and stuff like that. So the Republican Party has a problem, and that's the fact that it's still letting in actual representatives
Okay.
to Congress. So that's what's going on behind the scene, I feel like.
So they have to what be destroyed, I guess.
Well, basically, the Republican Party has to come up with a way to get rid of these people,
Yeah. Okay. In some
these
way.
types of representatives, to become kind of openly like an oligarch, because they can't openly be an oligarchy like the Democrats now, because that's not how their system was built.
Mhm.
So they have to come up with ways to do that without actually doing that.
Yeah.
And this is one of them, the way they're doing it right now.
Hmm.
Like in the elections that basically they're okay with, Republicans are winning 10 points, 15 points in the candidates that they like. In the
Yeah.
candidates that they don't like are the Freedom Caucus types, MAGA types. It's all basically a problem. If you look at all these people that are left,
Hmm.
they're all problematic ones.
Hmm.
They're all people that are not going to be one party people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the problem. I used to think that it was like Democrats and basically Democrats are taking, and then I realized no. It's just those in the Republican Party that are not the one party type,
Hmm.
that are not going along with everything that the establishment is going through. Like the Freedom Caucus, one of the things I just found out are training the new members about how to resist the leadership.
Nice.
Literally, they're teaching each other
That's
what
ever
to do.
happened before on the.
Huh?
I don't know if that's ever happened before on the Republican side. I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
A funny thing that I found out,
Hmm.
that used to be the deal, that basically every
Things going
year.
on with your mic once in a while where you're brushing up against it or something.
Oh, sorry. Basically, every year, basically the members of the party could challenge the leader, the speaker,
Hmm.
okay, the leading party, and anytime they wanted, they could have challenged them. But 2018, Pelosi changes that rule. So the members of the party cannot just challenge the leader, only with the leader's acceptance. Only leader has to approve, the speaker has to approve the challenge.
Hmm.
Then they can challenge the speaker.
Yeah.
And the Freedom Caucus, that's one of the other things that they're trying to push through, that they would have the option of challenging the leader, the speaker, at any point. Because they know if McCarthy gets it and becomes the speaker, none of their promises is going to go through, you
Yeah.
know? So they're basically putting this amendment that, hey, we will have the right to at any point call for a new election
Yeah.
of the speaker. So that's what's going on
Okay.
in
Yeah. Although,
there.
yeah, I mean, back to this though, like, I don't think there's ever been an election like where a week after the election, nobody knows where, like, who controls the House. I don't think this has ever happened before. Like,
Yeah,
there's,
but if you notice, like the Republican establishment are not freaking out about it.
well, they can't freak out about it because then they'll be election deniers and they'll become unpersoned and everything.
Well, by who? Like that's the thing. Nobody cares about what the media says. Carrie Lake basically pushed herself forward.
Hmm.
No media was behind her. No, not Republicans weren't behind her.
Hmm.
I told you about her weeks ago. Remember her, how she was rising to power? Basically, she just did her own thing.
Yeah.
Didn't buy into any of that, and she got the votes. Republicans don't need the media narrative, but that's why I'm kind of certain that no, the reason they're not freaking out is not the perception, is that they're okay with the problems that have occurred
But they're okay with what?
with these areas that are having problems because all they need is 218.
Yeah.
They don't need the rest of them.
Okay. So I'm not, I don't get it. So they only need 218, so they're not upset about.
The less number of MAGA people getting in, the better.
I see.
That's what I believe. Is that what's basically why the Republicans are not freaking out? Because they already kind of have their vote.
Okay. So you think they're already pretty sure that they're gonna get the majority, so they don't want
Yeah.
to other people in. Maybe that could be. Um, but yeah, it's just really weird for the results to take this long. Like it just, um,
Hey, Biden said it.
yeah,
It
and
might take weeks. It might take weeks to count them, man.
there's all these articles about how it's perfectly normal, but it's like clearly not normal. And like the gaslighting is so real. So I actually went back and looked at different articles from like CNBC. Like CNBC will always have like an S&P 500 article the day after the midterm elections, right? So
Hmm.
I went back to 2018. I went back to 2014. Every time, the morning after the election, it says what the markets did based on the outcome of the election, like who controls the House, whatever. This is like the first time ever that it's been uncertain. Even in 2000 with Bush versus Gore, the House they knew the next day.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. It was just Florida for the presidency.
yeah, there's never been a case where the House is just in the balance for a week. That's never happened ever. But there's articles and articles about how it's perfectly normal. I don't know how like how much more blatant can it get than that? And how I don't know if anybody is actually paying attention to that.
You know, I used to think America is going to go down in a blaze of glory. Now I believe it's just going to go out with a whimper. Just an embarrassing nothingness.
Or just like decline into oblivion. It could.
Complete, basically
I feel like there's got to
complete.
be a civil war or like a real war or
Hell no. Hell no.
way down. No.
No. If it was going to happen, it would have happened already. What else do they need to do for the American freedom fighter to come out and do something? Cut off their boys' dicks?
Yeah, like eat
That
bait.
do it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to really see anything like that happening. There were some funny ballot measures. Did you hear about any of them? I can't remember any off the top of my head, but there were some funny ones. There's always some good ones.
Dude, in Iran, people are fighting the regime unarmed.
Unarmed
Unarmed.
people armed though. Were they?
Okay. They go at night sometimes. They find out like the head of this police department that was killing people in the day.
Yeah,
They basically stalk him on his way home, a few of them,
yeah,
and grab him and take care of business. In America, people have sniper rifles and machine guns.
yeah. People have like freaking tanks. Have you seen those? People have all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. If heads were supposed to roll, they would have rolled by now.
Anything changed in Iran, or is it just kind of like still
It's
happening?
still going on. Still going on.
Mhm.
It's getting broader and broader.
Did you see this story about so Global News comes out with this story about how CSIS warned the prime minister that China secretly funded election candidates in 2019. Did you see this?
No,
So CSIS basically,
as
um,
if the prime minister didn't know.
I know exactly. So because this is Global News finding out for sure that CSIS did tell Prime Minister at least in January that Beijing funded like election candidates in the last election, or not in the last election, in the 2019 election. So he knew back in January, and he hasn't said anything, right? And then this article comes out November 7th, and then the next day, November 8th, this comes out. Trudeau starts accusing China of aggressive election interference and stuff. So then
Oh,
he finally says something about it, and now they're gonna start probing it at the House of Commons.
oh, they're gonna probe it.
Ooh, yes.
Good. What are they gonna use to probe it?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see if it's
There's a joke here somewhere, but I can't find it.
yeah. The joke is just the committee itself.
The
Like
joke is our system.
yeah, our system is the joke. Like the liberals and the NDP are gonna probe China's alleged
Like
interference.
CSIS wasn't concerned when we were helping China train its soldiers in snowy weather in mountains.
Well,
Huh?
that's the thing too. They even if they're concerned about it, they just like quietly. This is proof that they just quietly tell the prime minister, and they don't, tell everybody else. Obviously, I mean that makes sense, right? But you can see an example of that here.
It's like if somebody's like beating the hell out of a kid, and somebody goes to him and says, "Hey man, you could hurt her. You could like kind of hurt her. Maybe like, I'm just saying."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Jesus is like, yeah, we are giving everything to China. Maybe it's not great.
Yeah. Um, are you following any other big stories lately?
What big stories?
In the news, just
Did
any.
you follow the crypto guy, FTX?
Oh yeah. So have you ever used FTX before?
No.
So, well, what do you know about the story? I mean, I know a little bit about it, but not much.
I found out that the whole thing was a Trojan horse money laundering scheme.
Well, but
Basically, they wanted to take down the crypto market and regulate it heavily.
Oh, so they were like
That was one of the goals.
they
The
wanted.
other one was money laundering.
So you're saying that they actually wanted to. Who's saying that though?
What?
Who's
No,
saying that?
what has happened? The guy was saying, yeah, this basically crypto should be regulated.
Oh,
The
it,
guy himself was saying it should be regulated. And then happens that this cryptocurrency goes down hard, everybody loses everything, and now they're like, yeah, we should regulate it pretty hard because see, this guy was telling us, we didn't listen.
so you think it was? You're saying there's kind of like a false flag kind of.
That was part of it, but the main purpose of it was money laundering, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because with the way that I was understanding it was that it was just kind of like a classic Ponzi scheme.
yeah,
Like have people deposit their crypto and then they would be secretly like betting with it.
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's a big deal. A lot of people are talking about it and it's seeming to have like a big, I don't know, it's seeming to have a
Oh,
big,
it has ties to Ukraine. It's a whole thing, dude. It's a whole thing of money laundering.
yeah.
Like, it used to be like, okay, you want to launder money? What do? Well, go buy bullshit art, like a banana on a table for $50 million.
Mhm.
Now you can do crypto.
I see.
Yeah, and oh, it crashed. Oh, everybody lost money. All the money we put in to buy it with this guy who was living with like 10 other dudes in a freaking incubator or something.
I see. But it just makes sense that this would happen though. You know what I mean?
This
Like
would happen what?
that this kind of sphere would be used in that kind of way.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's bound to happen at some point anyway, right?
It has happened before,
Oh, so
but this time this was a thing.
so then this is just gonna keep happening, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't really regulate it because that's kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. Is that right?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not
Yeah,
very.
I'm not gonna like hold you to sources or like come back and replay the videos or anything. But
No, I'm saying cryptocurrency is a reality that's gonna be a thing forever.
so how does
Okay,
this affect the
it's
future?
just gonna be basically they're gonna find a way for it to be an actual trustworthy currency.
Okay, so
It's
there's
just how, but it's gonna be a thing. And yeah, of course, there's a lot of these. We've talked about it before. There's a lot of them.
so this
Doge, for example.
yeah. So you're saying this is like more holes to plug, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Um, um, I've seen a lot of things about speculating on. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
Don't go there, girlfriend.
I
What are you talking
saw
about?
I saw a couple of other YouTube channels kind of like almost go there and then just not. But yeah, it's not worth even mentioning what it is. Um, Unifor president was attacking Tiff Macklem for declaring war on the working people. I mean, just how little can you
Who?
understand the
Who?
world? So Unifor is like one of the big public sector
Yeah,
unions.
yeah,
You know, like public sector unions. I don't. First of all, every time I mention public sector unions, I have to talk about how they shouldn't exist.
yeah,
Like you work for the government, right?
yeah. You don't need a friggin' labor
Just
union.
you can vote, right? Or you can just leave the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can go to the newspapers
Yeah,
and say the government is doing this.
yeah, exactly. But then these public sector unions are always the most corrupt. They do like all sorts of stuff, and they have all sorts of weird like industries that pop out of them, and weird bureaucracies, and they have like professional protesters hidden in different payrolls and stuff, and they really just don't understand the first thing about how the world works. Like they we have this money system where the government prints all of this money and all of that money goes to rich people, right? And then the government tries to suck all of that money back out, and then the money comes out from everybody, including the working class, right? So they keep putting money in, taking it out, putting money in, taking it out, and it creates more and more wealth inequality. That makes sense, right? Because they keep giving it to the
Yeah.
rich, but then they take it from everyone, right? So then, so then instead of attacking that system that creates this wealth inequality, they're like, "Oh, you're sucking the money out of the system. How could you do this to working people?" Like it just, it's
It's stupid.
yeah. Anyways,
But
it's
stupid. I guess it's designed. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't
I
trust
mean, you
anything
can
anymore.
understand that it's like a little bit more difficult to understand, like the extra layer of it, but
You
like
know what's sad, dude? The saddest thing
what?
for me is finding basically that a lot of the anti-Western bullshit that you were hearing growing up and stuff, a lot of it has good amount of truth in it.
Like what kind of stuff?
Like how they are freaking destroying the economy of other countries, and like how Europe is destroying African
Yeah,
economy. Now,
yeah.
like
That
the reason for the 1979 revolution was the fact that Shah basically created OPEC, okay, and created a monopoly of oil. And Europe hated it, US hated it, they did not like him for it, and they basically, first chance they got, they said, yeah, 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 we should destroy him.
yeah.
It's just like, and you see the Western freaking the American system that I loved so much, and I was so starry-eyed about it, and then you see, wow, the level of corruption is just,
Yeah, it's like the whole deep state and oligopoly thing, but then you think about how would you take it apart and put it back together in a better way, and that's really hard, you know?
that's the problem. Like in a country like Iran,
Yeah,
you can actually have a revolution, okay,
yeah, yeah,
because the system is so crazy and so out of whack
yeah.
that people just are like, you know what, we can start from zero better than this.
Do you think they could ever possibly resort to nuking their own people? Do you think that's ever possible?
They don't have nuke, but if
Yeah,
people took over a city
yeah, possibly.
completely, not the capital, a city,
Yeah,
and a small city,
minor
and
city.
the regime pulled out all of its forces and all, it's very unlikely
Yeah,
because the regime has support. It's not just government employees, some religious crazy people and stuff, and they're among people.
yeah.
Like it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. There is a chance.
So what other anti-West stuff do um you actually believe? Do you think that the West has always wanted to break up?
No, the fact that the West is basically going more and more corrupt,
Yeah,
and it is going to friggin' destroy itself.
yeah. But like the thing you said about Africa, like how, there's like how France export, how like America exports its inflation to the world, like France exports its inflation to Africa,
Yeah,
just like how that Italian prime minister was saying.
yeah, that was how she was talking about it.
Yeah, like
And
what other stuff like that? Like maybe because there's this idea that America always wanted to um
culturally, dude, culturally,
like cultural
okay,
huh?
American culture is fucked.
That's
Okay, they have completely ruined religion, family, and all the basically crucial, essential institutions,
yeah,
from family to sports, even all the way to sports.
yeah,
They've ruined everything that creates community, religion, everything that creates a community and bond beyond your immediate physical appearance.
Yeah.
They have destroyed it.
Even just to, yeah, nobody knows their neighbors. That's the classic one.
Okay? That's the thing. Everything that used to bond people doesn't anymore. The only thing that does is now these intersectional bullshit and politics. So they did that and they're exporting it everywhere
Hmm.
in the world. The digs that they use, I started to rewatch stuff from the 90s, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I saw the signs of it. I saw all these basically bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's fun to look back and see the foreshadowing of it.
Yeah, all of it is there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
House, the show House from 2000s,
Yeah.
early 2000s, was talking about, no, I think it was late 2000s. It was talking about how a fetus is actually like a tumor.
Yeah.
That was the first time it was mentioned.
Do you think, I mean, because that we've talked about this before, whether comedy has actually like affected this? Because
Comedy has had a very strong negative effect.
it might have it might be some sort of kind of feedback loop, right? Could it, but it might also just be that the comedy is just exposing what's already, kind of out there in the collective consciousness.
To be fair, yes, comedy basically uses what's out there.
Yeah, it's not
Comedy
like,
uses feedback from
yeah,
the audience. If there was no demand for it, comedy wouldn't go there.
yeah.
Okay. All these really edgy comics that are crazy and blah blah blah, because there's a need, there's a demand for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have any jobs.
Hmm.
Lenny Bruce died penniless,
Yeah.
even though he was basically a champion of free speech. But that's the thing. Comedy just follows what people want,
Yeah.
and that is set by the culture, by, I don't know, by the media, by all the outlets of culture.
Yeah, it's kind of hard
And
to say how much of a, how much of,
like realizing that capitalism ended up in fascism just like communism,
Mhm.
that's sad.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the Western countries are now fascist states. All of them. Fascism means what? Fascism, as Mussolini defined it, was the merger of
Corporate.
basically the government and corporations.
Yeah. Basically, it's just deep state extreme is what fascism is.
Yeah. Government and corporations. Basically, all the corporations have a backdoor to the government.
Yeah, it's basically fascism is
Yeah.
deep state extreme and
Yeah.
communism is just state extreme.
Government controlled economy, but with the help of private sector, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And well, yeah. It's like, have you looked at any news recently?
Yeah, it's all just a crazy feedback loop where they like, it's like a classic example is just how they use the polls to justify whatever they want to
The
do.
media literally comes out, dude, the news media comes out and like, yeah, there was a report that Pelosi like murdered 5 people in cold blood in front of 50 people. But what there is a nuance here. And that 50 people actually ran into her blade. And it's like they're basically doing the exact opposite of what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens. Like that's Iran, dude.
But it's only one-sided too. Exactly. It's like
That's what
perfectly.
the media does in Iran, justifying everything for the state.
Yeah, it's really been crazy to just see how it's changed even in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, but the media in Iran is owned by the government directly. It's state media. These fuckers are like technically private.
It's like socially owned through clout and through different kinds of funding and
Yeah,
revolving doors and stuff like that. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Fascism with extra steps.
Like the best example of it again, Epstein. Media had the story. There's literally like media people on the camera saying, yeah, we had this story.
Yeah.
We didn't break it. Some guy breaks it. And then what happens? Because he wasn't supposed to break. That's why the media wasn't breaking it.
Yeah.
And then when it breaks out, what happened, dude?
Yeah. It's the cathedral, the modern day cathedral.
Signed, sealed, delivered, done. The dude died. Apparently, camera didn't work immediately that time. France, exact same thing happened to that guy's friend. And Maxwell, she has a list, but yeah, it's boring. Let's talk about Ukraine.
Yeah, nothing ever happened of that.
She has a list of pedophiles.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about it, and everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's like these are the stuff that blackmail people.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's not so secret that we can't know about it, but on the other hand, it's just like, wow, like
That's
really just
worse,
nobody
man.
gives a
That's
fuck.
worth.
Nobody gives a fuck. Really nobody.
Yeah, that's worse when you've done something that people find out and they don't care.
Yeah. Anyways, we have a few more stories here. There's this Nothing Burger story about apparently Russia's Lavrov was, at the G20 summit in Indonesia, and he briefly visited the hospital and he left and there was nothing wrong. So I don't know what's up with that.
Where?
In Indonesia, there's a G20 summit.
Oh, Lavrov.
Yeah, so he went to the hospital and nothing was wrong apparently. I don't know, just weird stories like this just makes you wonder. I don't know. I don't have any theories or anything, but
No, it's just that he's a very, very important dude.
yeah.
So
Speaking
when he goes to the hospital, he could have got the runs or whatever.
Yeah, apparently the Democrats are going to stay in control of the Senate. So
Oh.
we'll have to keep an eye on the House. Russia bans Jim Carrey, apparently. There's also all the mask recommendations are coming back. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I heard some.
Yeah, the Emergencies Act inquiries.
That's another thing. It's like, hey man, we now know that it was bullshit. That the vaccine doesn't stop transmission. And masks don't stop transmission. It came out, all of it.
But they're still coming back with it.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's
Like
about
the truth
loyalty,
is
right?
out, but they have taken control of enough of society.
So at this point, it's
Doesn't
about
matter.
loyalty, basically, right?
Huh?
It's basically about loyalty now.
Look, you've read Animal Farm, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. The role of the sheep are the most important role in it, dude.
Yeah.
It's more important than the dogs
They're the enablers.
because they're the ones who shout everybody down.
Mhm.
They learn a line and they keep repeating it over everybody else's voice.
If you're not here for women, we ask you to leave.
That's it. That's it. You teach them one line at a time, and that's what they repeat.
Mhm.
And if you remember, they wouldn't learn that line. They had to be taken, trained for a while, and then return.
Yeah.
Okay? That was the problem. And basically the same thing has happened through universities and schools. They've now trained them.
Mhm.
They all learn a line and just scream it out. Democracy is on the ballot. Democracy is on the ballot.
I thought democracy was the ballot. I can't believe democracy is on the
Everybody
ballot.
from
That's such an obvious line. Like,
that's very important line.
yeah.
Okay, they made a literally normal election that should have been a backlash to their shittiness.
Democracy is on the ballot. That's just such a crazy slogan.
Yeah, basically the other side is the enemy. That's the line.
Yeah.
The other side will kill you. The other side will kill you.
Voting
That's
for them is not democracy.
No, that's the thing. When they say democracy, it's not about democracy. What does that basically connote?
It's Democratic People's Republic kind of
Yeah,
democracy.
when they say democracy is on the ballot, what does that mean? That means when the other guy comes, democracy goes away.
Yep.
Then you go to camps. Then they massacre you. Then they genocide you. Then the stuff that they were saying about Trump initially, he was gonna do, put gay people in camps and all the bullshit, the sad, ridiculous bullshit that some people were actually buying into.
Mhm.
That's what it means when they say democracy is on the ballot. It
Yeah.
means everything you have will go away.
Mhm.
You're going to be killed or thrown to prison because you're very important. So democracy is on the ballot.
Yeah.
And that everybody repeated that line, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy. That really went out fast.
Yeah, they buy, they look into it. They're like, okay, what are these retarded white liberal women, unmarried liberal women?
What can we possibly get them riled about now?
What riles them up? They do, what do you call them? The uh, group tests. What do they call them? The
Focus groups.
focus groups.
Yeah, they
They
realized
use these slogans
yeah, they
and see
realized
which one riles them up more.
yeah, they realized they had to go down like the hierarchy of needs, like because the
Yeah,
economy's not going well and everything's not it's like all right,
nothing, dude. It's impossible to have this much shittiness going on and
there was
still
no
not
like
use
there,
heavily.
there was no like, oh, the Republicans are gonna make the economy worse with their austerity. There was not even that.
There was no message.
No, not at all.
There was just fear. Democracy is on the ballot, and it works.
Yeah. Um, Emergencies Act inquiry is still going on. Um, there's like the Ukraine stuff. I don't know if you know anything about the Ukraine stuff. It seems like it's escalating. Um, and then there's like the China
Still
stuff.
don't care.
Yeah, we have a minute and a half left on the call before it like times out. Maybe we can. Have you ever used like OBS or I don't
Why
know?
is it a timed call?
I don't know. It just like there's like a time limit for the call. That's why I keep like remaking the link.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe next time we'll come up with something better other than Zoom.
Yeah, democracy is on the ballot, dude. Remember that.
Democracy's on the ballot. I can't believe democracy's on the ballot. That really, if you like, the more you think about it, the crazier it gets. All right, dude. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Have a
Okay.
good one.
Thanks, everyone. Take care and see you
What
next week.
happened to Keely?
Oh, because the baby wouldn't sleep, so she had to just watch the baby.
Oh, okay. Say hi to her.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
And then one day, eventually, we'll come up with a regular time for this.
Yeah, we should.
Probably like a Sunday afternoon kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
without a timer. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.